Hi everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about intuitive eating. We're going to cover what it is, why it's useful, and how you can implement it in your life. So let's first talk about who intuitive eating is useful for. I would argue that intuitive eating is useful for anybody who eats food, particularly in our society since we have a lot of weirdness built up around food. However, there are a few populations that I think intuitive eating is particularly useful for. And I would say that that would be anybody who has eating disordered type behaviors. So that might look like over-exercising, calorie counting, missing out on social events because of food concerns or nutrition concerns, or basically any type of just being really fixated on food or fixated on exercise to overcome or to compensate for food. Anybody who's trying to lose weight, gain weight, or change their physical appearance in any way. And anybody who has food scarcity stuff from their childhood. So that might have looked like there wasn't enough food growing up. And so now when there is food, I feel like I have to eat it all because what if it disappeared? So I have had some clients come saying that they want to lose weight or concerned because they're having some eating disorder type behaviors. And this is something that I utilize with them because I feel like it's especially useful for them. So what is intuitive eating? Intuitive eating is not a diet. It is not a prescription about what you can and cannot eat or how much you can or cannot have. Intuitive eating is actually very, very closely related with mindfulness and mindful eating. And the idea is that you're paying attention to your body and you're letting your body decide how much and what it is that you're craving. Now, typically when I say this to a client, particularly someone who's concerned with losing weight or has some type of disordered eating behavior, the first concern that they mention to me is, Becca, if I got to eat whatever I wanted to eat, whatever I wanted to eat it, like I wouldn't stop. I would just eat the entire pizza or the entire box of donuts or the whole box of crackers, and I'm insatiable. The thing is that if you know that you can eat whatever you want whenever you want it, all of a sudden, like the fun is kind of taken out of like gorging on sweets to the point that you're sick. It's not taboo anymore. You get to have sweets when you want them. And what that means is that you can put it down and say, I'm going to have more of that later. The second that tastes good to me again, the second that even sounds good to me again, I absolutely can pick it back up and have it when I want it. That means that I don't have to have it now. I don't know if you've ever had this experience. I certainly have, where you're just kind of like shoveling handfuls of something. And for me, it's usually, I don't know, crackers. And you're like really enjoying it in the beginning. And then about midway through, it's like just sort of a habit, like you're not really thinking about it anymore. And then near the end, it's sort of disgusting. Like your body is actually having this visceral reaction to the food. Like, I don't really know if I want this. This is kind of gross and it doesn't feel good. And I don't like the way my stomach feels when I'm eating it anymore. So if you said yes to that question, if you've ever gotten to that point where you were eating something and then all of a sudden were completely disgusted by it, then your body, good for you, because your body already has this built-in mechanism to tell you that it doesn't need any more of that and it doesn't want any more of that. And actually, if you're going to continue eating, it maybe should be something else. Intuitive eating is all about trusting that mechanism. It's all about trusting your cravings and your body to self-regulate. Now, does that mean that you're necessarily going to lose weight? No. Does it mean that you're necessarily going to, put on muscle or be able to do like more at the gym or something like that? No. Intuitive eating is not about an outcome. So this is where the mindfulness stuff comes in, right? Intuitive eating is a process-oriented behavior, right? It's about the act of eating in a way that is intuitive and listening to your body. For some people, that might mean that they lose weight over time. For other people, it might not mean that they lose weight. However, they're going to have a much healthier relationship with food and they're going to be able to enjoy it much more in many more circumstances. Eating is based on the idea that your body is good enough no matter what it looks like, what size it is, or what shape it is. Therefore, when I have clients coming to me asking for help to lose weight, what do you think my answer is? your body is good enough just the way that it is right now, sitting in this chair, in this room with me. It is good enough. It is worthy of love. If you want to interact with your body differently because it will feel good to you, absolutely, I will champion that. I will be behind you 100%. Let's talk about ways to do that. However, if we're going to be talking about things that are restrictive, we're going to be talking about good foods and bad foods, I'm not down on that. I'm not about that life. If you were to choose to implement intuitive eating, I just kind of gave you like a basic overview of what it means, but let's talk a little bit more in detail about what that would look like and what might possibly happen if you were to do that. So if you were to engage in intuitive eating, what that would mean is that you would be paying attention to what your body is craving. So maybe your body is craving a donut, and maybe you go and get the donuts, and you look at it, and you smell it, and you pay attention to it, and you take that first bite, and you pay attention to like, wow, that really tasted good. I really enjoyed that bite of donut. Well, I would ask you to ask yourself, how did you know that you enjoyed it so much? What in your body was saying, yes, more of this, please, right? Were you getting it in your mouth? Was it something in your throat? How about in your stomach, or the way that it sat in your stomach? I want you to pay attention to all of those cues. This is a whole body experience, right? And then if you're really enjoying it, what all that's going to do is enhance the experience for you, which is kind of cool anyway. So then the second bite comes, and I'm asking you to do the same thing. And so you're really paying attention to what you're eating, how much you're eating, and how it's feeling while you're eating it. When you take that bite that feels kind of like, that was a donut, right? It's sweet. I don't know if I liked it per se, but it was, it was fine. That's when we start to slow down. When you take the bite that's like, bleh. I don't want to eat this. I don't want to put it in my body. It doesn't taste good anymore. I don't like it. You might be only halfway through your donut, or you might be 4 donuts in. I'm not really sure where you're going to land, but wherever it is, we're going to trust that your body is telling you the correct information for you to be able to make a good decision. Now, you may be hearing from me that intuitive eating comes with quite a bit of acceptance. It's like release of control. It's letting whatever happens, and letting your body sort of like take the wheel. And it's giving yourself permission to exist in the way that you are, in the state that you are in this moment, and loving yourself for that. And I think that really is the therapeutic part of this whole perspective. I think that's where the therapy comes in, and I think that's what's so useful about being able to work on this, is that your body is going to be changing and shifting and growing and shrinking, and changing size and changing shape. It's going to be doing that for the rest of your life. It's always doing that from the second that we're born. And if we don't give ourselves permission to be in all of those spaces in our body and all of those moments in our bodies, things are going to be really difficult. So it's important that even if we have goals, right? I like weightlifting. I have goals at the gym. I want to be able to lift a certain amount of weight. Even if we have goals, we need to be able to love and appreciate ourselves where we are right at this moment. So today we talked about intuitive eating. We talked about the people that intuitive eating might be useful for and why it might be useful. We talked a little bit about what it might look like and how to implement it in your life and how to give your body that permission. And then we talked a little bit about what is so difficult about intuitive eating and the therapeutic kind of aspect of that is going to take a little bit more attention and energy. If you have any thoughts or feelings about intuitive eating, please feel free to share those in the comments. And otherwise, I will see you in 2 weeks. Take care.